Hello and welcome. On today's video, we're going to be working with the newly released Summertime collection by Lisa Horton from Spellbinders. And we're going to be making 4 different cards using all the bits and pieces. I'm going to show you how to assemble them. And I have got the Stargazers here. This is part of the collection from Lisa Horton. And there are 16 cutting dies with it, and we're going to be assembling it. In addition to that, I have got the decorative lattice 2 cutting die pieces, and I've got packaged with that the ripped edge circles as well. And then we have got the garden planner, and this has got 30 cutting dies with it. And then in addition to that, we've got the containers and foliage, which has 12 cutting dies. You've got some containers there, and we're going to work with that on one of our cards. And we also have, and this is a must-have, this is the open lace frame and landscape. Now I'm going to show you the frame in multiple ways, but we're not going to get to the landscape dies. And then I've got the Love and Hugs Sentiments. And this is one of those that you can stamp in a single press and then die cut in a single run through your die cutting machine. I love them when they're like this. You just stamp them all at once, lay them on there, and die cut them out all at once. And it's super simple and fast for card making. This die set also has a triple layer sentiment. It's hugs. And you've got the shadow, a second shadow, and then the top layer. And so you've got hugs, but you can have hugs just because, love and hugs, sending hugs, great big hugs, huge hugs, gentle hugs. Just you can mix and match all of those. It's just a great little set of sentiments that you can pair up. So I'm just going to get these all stamped, and we're going to get them die cut out, and then we will have a supply of sentiments for the 4 cards that we're going to make. So here we go. Just give it another little press, and we'll get them die cut out, and then we'll be good to go. So I'm just going to lay them on the die on the plates and put a little tape down so they don't move around, and then we'll bring them back in, and I've got enough sentiments for the cards that I'm going to make on today's video. And you can see how wonderfully they die cut out and how easy they are. And then if you want to, like instead of adding foam tape to the back, if you want some dimension, you could just run that die through just on your cardstock, and you could have some good dimension. So I was flipping through and showing you. I'm going to use a variety of the sets on the card, and so we'll zoom in, and I've got my elements already die cut out and ready to go. I had a couple of options there with this open lace frame. I had a white centerpiece, and then I die cut out a treasured gold cardstock panel, thinking I might use gold on it instead of the white. So I've got some options there. Wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to use, and I've decided to go ahead and go with a gold glitter cardstock and lay it down on there. Now this decorative lattice die will fit inside this open lace frame perfectly. So I'm going to use it. I've laid that white piece on there. We're going to get all of our Stargazer flowers assembled, and I've just cut just as the picture has shown. I just did the 2 buds and the 2 flowers, and then we'll just get them assembled. Each of these dies are numbered, and they have letters on the dies to match the stems, so that you'll know which leaf goes with which stem, because they are various sizes. Some are thinner than others, and so you want to keep them lined up how they go. Now, I have seen some content with these Stargazers to where they have paired just a bunch of them together, and they're quite lovely when you cluster a whole bunch of them together. I'm going to do a simpler design with these and just do it as it's packaged. But if you want to, you can die cut out a whole bunch of these and just layer them up, and it's just a beautiful little cluster. So I'm going to get them layered. This floral is actually, it has 3 layers and then the center piece. So you're going to just layer up the 3 layers and then put the centerpiece on them. And one is slightly larger than the other. And so the larger pieces are going to go together and the smaller pieces are going to go together on your layers. And then you have the little buds that go on a couple of the stems. Now I've got the hugs, and I've chosen to just kind of bring in a pink color that I thought would blend nicely with my florals, and then I brought in a couple of greens to pair with my stems and leaves, and I thought we would just have a good color match using these. And so we're going to get this hugs assembled, and I used a little piece of paper to puddle some glue on so I wouldn't make a mess. And now we're going to assemble the decorative lattice piece over our gold glitter cardstock. And I think it's nice. It tones down that gold glitter panel a little bit. And I just love the beautiful lattice look that you get with it. And then we're going to get our flowers laid down on here, and then we'll get our sentiment laid on here. And I'm just going to kind of position them and figure out how I want to do them. And I'm basically going to have the 2 buds in the middle toward the top, and then the flowers on each side near the bottom. And we'll get these glued down, and then we'll get our sentiment add to them. I'm going to bring in actually some foam for the florals, and I think it'll give them some good dimension, and then we can just kind of glue the stems down. And for the buds, I'm just going to glue them straight down, and they're going to be flat. We're just going to use our dimension on the flowers. And so I'm just going to tuck this in, and you can see I've got it kind of high. I'm going to layer my sentiment over the bottom of the stems to kind of cover up the clustered stems so you won't see that. And we'll get all of our florals laid down in here. I'm going to pop up this other one, and I'm just putting foam just on the flower, the flower part. And then we've got our hugs. And I'm going to get this laid down on here and position it. And then I'm going to move on to my next card. I've actually got a bow that I made, and I'm going to attach it in the upper corner here. Just put a little blob of glue. And this is gold twine that we've got here. And this will finish off this card, I think. But then I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to pair one of the sub-sentiments with it, and then that'll finish it off. But we're going to go on to the next one. When I get ready to finish this one, we'll add that sub-sentiment. So for this card, for this point, I'm going to show you how to assemble the garden planter. And it's got 20 cutting dies, and most of the dies are the flowers. And then you've got the barrel. This is like one of those barrels that you would get, and it's got some decorative pieces. I'm using all brown for my barrel, and we're going to layer the back piece on it. And then I'm going to bring in some of the treasured cardstock in a kind of a matte gold, and we'll add the decorative kind of the bands that hold the barrel together. Mine are going to be decorative bands because I'm using gold. And then there's a rim, a real thin piece that goes around the rim of the barrel. Now, you won't see that in my card because we're going to lay so many flowers down that it'll cover it up. But I did go ahead and assemble it on there. So we'll just get those lined up nice and neat, and then we will get our decorative elements on. Now, these strips that lay on the barrel have like wood grain die cut into them, so you've got some good dimension with the wood grain. And so there are 4 of these pieces, and I think, you know, each one has a certain spot, so you got to get it in the right place. And I will tell you, there are assembly guides on the Spellbinders website. I did print them off. I didn't show them on this video, but I might show them. Maybe I showed them at one point. But you can go to the pictures area on the Spellbinders site for the product and scroll through the pictures, and they are there. And I have found that when you get to that picture, if you open it in a new window, it'll print better for you. So that's how I do it. And I like to print them just so that I have them in case I get stumped on where a piece goes. Sometimes it's hard to discern where a particular piece goes, so it's nice to have those. So I'm going to get my decorative elements laid down, and now we've got our flowers. I'm going to just get the centers laid down on the flowers, and then we'll start clustering them all together so that we can build our little scene that we're going to put on our card. And I just die cut the centers of the orange flowers out with some gold. I had a little tiny piece of gold, and I was able to cut the centers out with that. And then for the yellow ones, I used some of that brown cardstock, and just die cut those out and got those laid down in there. So now we've got all of our little centers in there, and we're just going to start filling our barrel full of stuff. Now, I thought I'd put a little bit of glue down on there, and then I decided I would wipe it off with my finger and bring in my tape runner, and that way I don't have to wait for it to dry, and I can immediately start adhering things to this barrel, or planter, I guess I should call it, and then I can pull together my little scene without having to put a whole bunch of glue on there. I can just stick them to that sticky tape runner that is on the back of the garden planter. Now we've got a little stem in there. We've got a couple little stems. I die cut out some extra leaves and some extra stems, and I'm just going to take my little yellow flowers and assemble them on that stem, and then the other stem I'll stick, I don't know, a couple orange flowers on there. And we're just going to get our little yellow flowers tucked in there. I kind of took my design from the picture on the packaging and just laid my little yellow flowers in the center, and then we'll put our bigger flowers around kind of the bottom of the planter and just kind of fill in from there. I'm trying to get it laid down on there, and it's not wanting to stick, so I grabbed the tape runner. We're just going to get it stuck down on there. And then we'll add the bigger floral and get it laid down on there as well. Well, I've almost made it through the work week, and I've only got one more week to go. Hallelujah. I'll tell you, I'm exhausted. There's been a lot going on these last few days, and I'm just trying to help them with as much as I possibly can, but I'm exhausted. Anyway, I'm going to get all of these little flowers laid down on here and get them tucked in. And we're just going to fill this planter up. And I thought the orange and the green looked really pretty together and then the brown. And I just thought it was a nice pairing of colors. I don't know about you, but I can't wait for all of my flowers to come in. We've, seen the early things come in already around here, but I'm ready for the rest of them. We're almost to Mother's Day, which means we'll be able to plant our garden soon, so I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a big garden again this year, and I'm going to do strawberries again. My patch did not do well, but I'm going to do it again this year, and hopefully I'll have better results. So I'm bringing in that panel again and the lattice again, and we've got some peridot cardstock, and I think we've got some carrot cardstock there, and we're just going to layer these up. That is vellum right there that I'm using on this one. I did white hammer mill on the other one, and I did vellum on this, and I'm just going to get it lined up on there. I put a little bit of tape on there. It wasn't quite enough. I'm going to lay some more down right in the center where I know I'm going to have my planter, my garden planter, and then I can just lay it over the top of that tape runner, and no one will ever see it. I'm just going to get some glue on here, and I'm trying to get it up on the leaves in different areas so that it will help to hold down that vellum, and that way it won't kind of curl or raise up. And then this one I'm just going to glue straight down onto the panel and just try to get it lined up nice and neat. I think I did take the tape runner in a couple of spots and tuck down that vellum so it wouldn't pop up. I brought in one of my 3D embossing folders and embossed a white panel, and I've cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I'll have a little white frame around there. But I just thought we needed some embossed detail on here just for some extra interest, and we'll get this panel laid down on there. And we've got a really pretty card. I think that frame really adds to it. And I'm going to get my sentiment laid down on here just for you. And then this is when I bring in the other card and I add a sentiment to it. And so this one says great big hugs now instead of just hugs. And it kind of fills in the area where the stems were. And so there's these two cards, and we're going to go on and we're going to make a couple more. Now, I will tell you, I actually had to pause, and I had brownies in the oven and they were ready, and I had myself a brownie. And then it was time to go to Bible study. And so I went to Bible study, and then I just got back and we're finishing this voiceover. So this is a really cute little set where you've got these different containers and foliage, which is the name of the die set. And you've got 2 layers on them. You've kind of got like I suppose it would be like the shadowed layer or the whatever, but I'm just laying color on there just so that you can see the dimension. I've just chosen 2 different colors. I've got lighter on one and darker on the other. And then this, to me, kind of looks like if you would go to purchase some flowers and they would wrap it in some paper, put a little bow around the bottom. It kind of looks like the tissue that you would wrap around a bouquet. And it has a little bow on there that is actually 4 pieces. And I'm just going to get it laid down on there and get all of the little elements added to it. I'm going to put the little centerpiece on top. And so I've taken the foliage die and I've die cut out some pink, and then the leaf or the stem portion with some green. This is peridot. And I'm going to layer this up. And then I took the foliage again, like the leafy part or whatever, and I die cut it out in white. And I thought I would use the colored one for our little bouquet where we've got the little tissue wrapped around it. And then I was thinking for the large white one, I could snip it apart and put smaller, stems into these various containers and just kind of make them fit it a little bit better. I suppose you could put the whole thing in one of them, but in my eye, I just felt like these containers needed less than that. And so I'm going to just snip it apart, snipping off the largest part and putting it in the biggest container. And I think it looks good. Just going to position it in there. And I really wanted to do the white just to let the containers kind of be the focal point, and then we just have the white leaves. And so I'm just going to snip this apart, and I'll keep snipping until I use all of the foliage and get them positioned in the different containers. And we'll just keep snipping them apart and tucking them in. So my Bible study, we're actually studying Philippians is what we're studying. And we're doing this, I can't think of the kind of study it is. Anyway, you just read it over and over and over and highlight things and just kind of keep going over it so that you can commit it to memory. Anyway, so that is what we've been doing for the last, are we on our 3rd week, I think? So we're not, I think the 3rd week of our study. Anyway, so there is all of our die cut pieces assembled. And I have got a Cosmic Sky panel there. I think that's Cosmic Sky. And then I've got a yellow, I don't know if that's beeswax or what it is. It's a Spellbinders cardstock. And we are going to bring in our dies again and layer. Oh, I'm showing you that's how I layered it up. So those 2 fit together, and you can lay them there together and then die cut a scalloped frame with that lattice and create a really fun panel. Now I'm taking my Spellbinders corner rounder and I'm rounding the corners on my card. I just thought it would look nice with the rounded corners from our little frame there. And so I just rounded off the blue and the card base, and we're going to get it laid down on there. I very seldom do that. I recently got that Spellbinders corner rounder, and I'm trying to use it a little bit more. So we're going to make a shaker out of this one. I thought it'd be fun to do something a little bit different and just add a shaker. So I'm using some tape runner and getting around the edges here and just kind of pulling it back where it's sticking over, just kind of pulling the tape runner back on itself. And I've got some vellum here, or some acetate, and it's some pretty good acetate. It's pretty good and thick. And I'm going to get it laid down on there, and then we're going to put some foam tape all the way around this, and then we'll get some embellishments and lay it in the center of our card. I've got my little embellishment tray there, and I'm just going to bring in, I actually bring in several colors. I don't show it all, but I do some green, some blue, some orange, and I think I even bring some yellow in. And so we've got just a variety of colors in there. And we'll just lay this framed panel on top of it, and we'll just have a little shaker bit underneath our frame. And you've got to shake a shaker for sure. Now we've got our containers. We're going to use the 3 containers on this. We'll save our bouquet for another card. And I'm just going to get those laid on there. And I thought they would pop off of that yellow, and I wanted to bring in a pop of yellow anyway, and so I thought we'll just make our little frame out of it. And I think it turns out really cute. And I like the white because it just draws your interest to the color on the containers, I think. And we'll get a little orange one laid down on there. I think it's super cute. Love those nested frame sets that were included in this summertime release. So I'm just looking at my happy birthday sentiment and trying to figure out where I want to put it. I'm still trying to build up some happy birthday cards for my stash. And so I just chose to use that sentiment, and we'll just get it laid down on there. And I'm putting it off to the left, which I don't normally do, just something different. Now we've got our little bouquet, and I'm going to bring in, I've got just an alabaster card base, and I've got a black frame. I just took some black paper, and I die cut out the frame with it. And we're going to get it laid down on here. We're going to keep it pretty simple. And I've used this alabaster and black combination a few times lately, and I really like them together. I think it looks nice. And then I'm going to take the ripped edge circle die that was also included in this release, and I've got a black panel and an alabaster panel that I've die cut out with a ripped circle die set, and we're just going to put those two together. And it's going to be a grounding point for our bouquet. This is going to be a clean and simple card. I've got some foam tape. I'm going to pop it up and just get it laid down in the center. And then we're going to add our floral to it, and that's just going to bring in just a little pop of color. I think it's pretty interesting looking with just the alabaster and the black, and then we've got a little bit of color on our focal point. I put a little more glue on there than I needed, so I wiped the top ones off with my fingers, and I think it looks really nice. And then we're going to bring in a sentiment that says Missing You, and we've got a little Missing You card. I'm going to bring in, I have die cut, or actually I took a hole punch. No, I die cut these out. I used the florals from one of the other sets, and I die cut out a bunch of gold glitter cardstock. It was just remnants of that treasured cardstock that I used on that first card, and I'm going to use those for my embellishments, and we'll just have a little dash of gold on there, and I think it looks really pretty. So I've taken some pictures so that you can see the cards close up, and I think they turned out nice. I hope you like them. If you did, consider hitting that like, and if you have not subscribed, I would welcome you to subscribe. And here are some videos that you can check out. Thanks for watching.